Happy April 1st. It is RJ Day, and what a day to celebrate as we have the Sabres hosting the Predators tonight, and the timing could not have been better for us to watch as there will be a banner unveiled with RJ on it inside of KeyBank Center tonight, and a longtime Buffalo broadcaster just happens to be in town. Perfect scheduling from an NHL perspective. Pete Weber from the Predators. So good to see you, sir. Welcome back.
Much. Thank you, and thank you to Steve Hatze-Petros.
Oh, yes.
Putting us in here on this day.
The schedule maker at the NHL has been challenged beyond belief the last few years, but he definitely did us all a favor by having Nashville, which organizationally, as you know, Pete, has had some Buffalo connections woven into it since its inception in the late 90s, and here we are a couple of decades later. The franchise that you cover on a regular basis is continuing to excel, and yet this is a perfect opportunity for you to reflect on Rick Jeanneret. So we just heard a piece on the way in asking one word to describe RJ. How would you do that?
Honest. Rick Jeanneret, honest. And the integrity of his call of a game is unparalleled.
Wow. I love that.
I struggled. I always struggled to find one word answer. And I came up with excellence because it's just, to me, I think of RJ and his calls on losing games or winning games and goals against and goals for or penalties and fights is excellence. Like, he always finds a way to put it in the best way possible.
I still remember, though, my favorite call of his. Yes, I love Mayday and everything, but it was the night that Richard Sevigny lost a certain item of his uniform. And Rick goes, Richard Sevigny, where's your jockstrap? And I think everybody understood that.
Yeah, you didn't have to put it too many different ways, right?
There was a great tweet earlier this year when people started reminiscing and using the hashtag thank you RJ, and somebody was smart enough, and it really captured how, especially in the radio days, you were just hanging off of his every word and the excitement. And this person's favorite line was, and the puck still isn't out of the zone. And it's like, I remember that so vividly as a kid, because he's got your excitement up here like, oh my God, save, like, get it out. And it's still not out of the zone. And honestly, it's his ability to take somewhat mundane moments within a game and always keep your interest level here or even higher.
Now that, I think, is the perfect example of the word I used, honesty.
Yes, absolutely.
So he's not putting the blame on the players. He just wants the fan base to know that the puck is still not out of the zone, and they are in big trouble because that's not happening. So you're right. Like, I mean, I've given up some bad goals. I've probably made some good saves that RJ had the call on it. But the bad goals never really resurfaced on Twitter or Instagram or social media. But that, to me, would have been like the kicker, to know that you've given up a bad goal and to hear RJ said, well, that is one that Marty would probably want back. Or I know I hate that phrase, but it's I just think that his honesty, you're right, is probably where nobody can feel slighted or embarrassed because RJ's just putting the words out there like the fans would.
Matter of fact.
Matter of fact, yeah.
And that, honestly, Pete, that's every day, right?
Yes.
We're so lucky and have been so deprived of this opportunity before every game night the last couple of years to hang out in the media room, have a meal, and then go, because that's where everything you're saying, integrity, honesty, like RJ doesn't hold back.
No.
But not that he's disparaging about anything or whatever. Like, it's just like, it's matter of fact. And it's like, it is what it is. He's going to look up at a game and he's going to be happy with what he's seeing on a college football game, where he's going to be like, grumbling a little bit.
A horse race on the iPad by the side.
He was the first guy to have a score or sports result.
Of course he was. He has had the next generation of iPhone, like 3 generations ahead of everybody else here in the time that I've been with the Sabres.
So right now he's on iPhone 15.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, RJ can get whatever he wants. But, well, okay, because of that, like, we talk about different generations. So you've been in the business a long time, Pete. So you've know that you either have to evolve, adjust, adapt to the times. I feel like RJ stayed the same. Yes, he's adjusted because the way you maybe go about a goal, you know, call or whatnot has to be evolving. But I feel like he stayed the same way from his early going to now. How do you think his approach to the game has changed or not changed over the years?
I think where it probably changed the most was when he was doing the Niagara Falls Flyers and Terry Crisp was playing there. And he had to adjust from Terry Crisp being a goal scorer in the Ontario League to coming to the NHL as a checker. No, I
and then a coach.
Yes.
Yeah, don't forget his win as a Philadelphia Flyer against Buffalo either along the way.
But he will tell you very quickly, he was not dressed for the deciding game here.
Right.
Because Fred Sherrill used the excuse afterwards, I was saving you for Game 7.
That's a good line you can always use down the road.
That's a big gamble as a coach. Terry, come in here. Listen, I'm going to keep you for Game 7. So, and then you're hoping you win because you don't want to have that conversation the next day. Say, I'll keep you for Game 8.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Why did you have to bring that up, or was it me? Because Danny Gare's sitting off to the side, and Danny's going to join us a little later. So, yeah, sorry for that trip down memory lane there, Tickets. But we've been really wanting you on the show. Trust me, like for days now. Yeah. So please don't go anywhere.
What's Tickets been doing here this morning?
We're right by the box office, too, right?
I think he was at the box office, yes.
Hey, he's box office ambassador.
He is. I'm captain ambassador. He's box office ambassador. That's how I was nicknamed.
Hey, Pete, why don't you, because most people know, and if they don't, they're going to learn about it again tonight as we celebrate the team's broadcasting history with RJ's banner. Ted Darling was here year one. RJ has been here ever since, and for years the two coexisted as broadcasters of this team.
Yeah.
Take us through your history in Buffalo, how you got woven into the broadcaster mix, and maybe give people a little timeline on how things started to evolve from a radio and television standpoint here with the Sabres.
I think I got pulled over against the better judgment of Paul Wheeland, a St. Bonaventure grad. He thought a Notre Dame guy could help things out here on the cable side, so he put me together with Mike Robitaille on Buffalo Sabres cable, and those were the intriguing nights where we had the studio between the dressing rooms at the Odd. And every now and then, Joe Crozier, Scotty's assistant, would come down, knock on the door. Pete, Scotty wants to see you. I'm going, what did I say last time that bothered him? No, I came back there, goes, hey, Pete, can you tell me, we've got our fantasy draft coming up tonight. Can you tell me the starting rotation for the Chicago White Sox? Because that was our parent club at that point in time. So I did that in a couple of minutes and ran right back to the studio with Roby. And he goes, geez, what did he say to you? And he goes, I'll tell you later, believe it or not, and I wouldn't believe it if I were you.
Oh, man. So what year did you start here doing all that with Roby?
So with Roby in 84, 85.
Okay.
And that's why on my social media today, I put up a remembrance, a little bit of a YouTube clip on the April 1st, 85 Sabres April Fool's telecast. Some intriguing things on there, and many things that could not be said today.
Mm-hmm. But it lives on social media.
Yes,
so,
it does.
I mean, that's the dangerous part. But I got a glimpse of it, and you look good with the glasses and the nose.
You know
and
what I call that? I call that my Sandy Marzullo disguise. Longtime sports fans here in Buffalo will remember Sandy Marzullo, who was at virtually every event. You know, God rest his soul, but he was always someone who was there standing by for you.
How many years did you do the Bisons, and how many years did you do the Sabres?
Wow. So 16 years with the Bisons. Sabres on cable for several years, and then on radio for 2. And then I was off for a year working for Empire Sports, and then I was lucky enough that Nashville came calling in 98.
Amazing. Amazing. And what a run it's been with Nashville. I mean, honestly, it's so... Like, I've been a huge fan of just how they built right from the start, and obviously we're not going to.
And the building started right here. This is where the expansion draft was.
Right
in this building.
And I think people are too quick to overlook just how good the franchise has been. Take away the first 5 years of pretty much any expansion team not named Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, they make it this year, playoffs in 15 of 18 years, and regular season history in the last 18 years. The Predators are 5th best in the NHL. There's only Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, and San Jose better.
You know why?
It is quality From the crease out,
From
right,
the crease
Marty?
out. It's all about goaltending, right? And you see what they've got this year with Jussi Saros, and also they had great leadership. And you talk about your social media and your Twitter because you put that April Fool's clip from '85, but you also posted a picture of you and Casey Fitzgerald. So explain a little bit how the history going back to the first captain of the Nashville Predators and Casey Fitzgerald and you and him.
Casey's father, Tom, was our first captain, signed as a free agent in the summer of '98, and we would have all these parties at the Fitzgerald's home. And there was this little guy running around, Casey, who all of a sudden is playing for the Buffalo Sabres.
He had to be. So when did Tom?
So Tom came
He
to
was a
Nashville
captain
98.
right away, right?
Yes.
He was named captain the first year.
Yeah.
So
And think about Tommy's career at that point. He was a significant, and there were many of them, but still a significant role player for the expansion Florida Panthers in '96, going to the Cup final against Colorado, and then just a couple of years later, here he is, kind of going through it all again. It really was, and. But the whole beauty of your team was Poyle's approach. It was built by speed. Long before everything else changes, like every team's got to be super fast.
Yes.
Your team was fast right out of the blocks.
And they realized they better be because everybody else is bigger.
Yes.
You got to get away from them.
Especially in the West. The West back in the late 90s and early 2000, it was a big, big hockey team.
Was it ever? There were a lot of Eric Lindrosses out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we know. Okay, I'm sorry to approach that because we talked about the Flyers in '75, and now we're going to talk about the Dallas Stars in '98. But they were big. Like the Dallas Stars of the days were a big team. Colorado was huge. Like Detroit was big and tough. There was a lot of tough teams on the Western Conference.
In our first season, after a game in Colorado, Terry Crisp said, "Hey, there's a couple of big guys outside the bus that are looking for you." Aaron Miller's brothers. And if you think about it, Aaron Miller, when I met the brothers, was the runt of the litter.
Oh, yeah.
They all could have been defensive ends of the National Football League.
Yeah.
Those were some huge, huge men.
So Nashville, it changed a lot over the last, 24 years in existence. It's changed a lot because now it's a buzz. Now it's a destination. Now it's a hockey market.
Right.
What's your favorite moment in your time with the Nashville Predators that you would say that tops it all?
Well, first of all, beating Anaheim to make the Stanley Cup final for the first time in 17. But there was a game in 2016, triple overtime with the San Jose Sharks. And Mike Fisher scored at 1:05 in the morning our time. And it was a school night. Nobody had left the building. The roar was absolutely incredible. Ex-Sabre Brent Peterson was doing the color commentary with me that night, and Crispy was upstairs because there was no local television for that, and he was so excited he squeezed Brent Peterson from behind. I think took all the air out of his solar plexus, and what fans heard of the air was me screaming about the goal and then Brent going, "Oh!" I'll get you that clip if you want it.
That's amazing.
I'm surprised. Like, and we go back to RJ. Like these moments over a 51-year career, like it must have happened so many times. Where on the radio back in '78 or '82 or whatnot, where RJ said something or a noise came out and people are at home. Is everything all right? Like, and they could wonder what happened.
One night there was a great goal. He's working with Larry Playfair, and we still don't know who did. Whoa! It was either RJ or Larry Playfair. I've got to investigate that yet.
Do you own like significant amounts of broadcasting archival tapes?
Yeah. I've matter of fact, several summers ago, I gave 20 gigabytes of sound to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And now I'm preparing to do the same for the Hockey Hall of Fame.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because we got to save this stuff.
Yes, you do. Absolutely.
And that's what I think I would love. We should all just get a committee together and sit down and record Rick, if only audio, okay, if we can do video as well, just start the stories to flow. Because there was a great book written a couple of years ago by Neil Young, which was really made for Kindle. It was all these hyperlinks for audio and video. And I think that's the way to experience things now.
Yeah.
You talked about the Buffalo Bisons. They're about to start the season in 4 days, I believe, is
Tuesday.
First pitch. So,
against the hated Iowa Cubs.
This guy's unreal.
Unbelievable. He knows everything, all the schedules. I'm like,
hey, by the way, speaking of that, since you're clearly showing how sharp you are at all this, I was reading that you agreed to basically like a 15-year contract.
Yes, they said, we want you to do it as long as you want. And I said, can't see doing it for any longer than 15 more years.
So there you go. Write your own ticket.
That's perfect.
Yep.
Now, we say that because Crispy is retiring at the end of the year, right?
Crispy's retiring at the end of the year, but he's staying in Nashville.
Good.
Throughout the course of the hockey season. So we will probably draft him to come out, and the new soccer stadium is opening up in Nashville in about 3-4 weeks, and he's going to come out and demonstrate soccer kicks for everybody.
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
There's a clip.
Yeah.
There's a clip we can't show or put to you guys, the listeners.
Two sports star people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they just never knew.
No, but Terry Crisp was probably good to come in and squeeze Hal Gill and Mace and those guys from behind a few times and let him squeal.
For Hal Gill, he got about waist high. So that was about
that's very true.
So, but I was going to ask you about the Bisons. What's your favorite Buffalo Bisons memory? And I mean, we've been lucky the last couple of years because we got to have the Toronto Blue Jays here and got to experience that.
And I was lucky to get to some games last summer. Yeah. My favorite Bison memory was a heartbreaker. It's the playoffs against Denver in '91. And we had won the first 2 games here, a best-of-5 series. Go to Denver, lose Game 3. Game 4, we are down 9-0 going into the 9th inning, being no hit.
Oh, my goodness.
32 minutes later, what should have been, not that I hold a grudge against Scott Potter, the home plate umpire, should have been the tying run was called out at home for the final out of the game. A 32-minute top of the 9th inning. And with that heartbreak at the end.
9-8. So was he safe?
Yes, he was. The tag was up here. His foot was on the plate.
Oh, my gosh.
We need video replay. We needed video replay 91.
Well, I trust every word this man says.
No, I'm just for the call to be right on the field.
Yes.
Pete had the call right on the broadcast, but not on the field.
Because when they called him out, I remember I said, oh, my God, they called him out.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding.
What else can you say in that moment? I mean, that's...
Got to be honest.
Yeah. Amazing.
It was Greg Edge. And the no-hitter was broken up by a guy who's been a Major League manager for a while, Jeff Bannister.
Oh, boy, I saw an amazing story on Bannister and his moment, right? That only moment that he had in the Major Leagues. I saw it last year. Didn't know. I mean, I've known the name Bannister forever, Texas Rangers man. Like, you just feel like these guys have been around, and it's funny how sometimes you don't, either you've forgotten or you never knew the journey to get there. And Bannister's story is amazing.
And then, of course, the amazing part is how his parents talked the doctor into not amputating his leg because of cancer.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh, we could have done like 2 hours of this easily.
I know we'll do it again.
And that's an understatement. Yeah. If you don't know, we have a podcast as well. It's called the Instigators Overtime Podcast. So we often need
great
stories.
We may need your little recorder to get going and record RJ telling stories, and then you can put it on the
another one with me.
and
tell you what, when that new soccer stadium opens, why don't we do it that day? Because clearly we've got material to work with. Yeah,
that would be absolutely fantastic.
See if we get
material for podcast.
Crispy to join us as well.
And on the podcast, you can play that clip, right?
100% we can.
Okay.
We may ask for forgiveness.
Because I did it with Craig Custance on his athletic podcast.
Craig, I see you. This is the beauty of the game. You mention a name, and I can see so vividly Craig's face lighting up at that.
It did.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. He is the one and only Pete Weber, and we are so grateful for the NHL schedule to have Nashville in town so Pete can be a part of this historic night for the Sabres organization as RJ's name is unveiled for all to see in the banners for all time. Pete, all the best in your travels.
Guys,
hope the playoffs treat you well this year.